What's up, everyone? It's your boy here, Sleepy Boy here, back at it again with another, well, no more future to be exact. And it's episode 17, in which we meet Apollo, or rather, we, I guess, live in the same area, building. Yeah. It's been a week since I recorded. My schedule was supposed to be I'll do a recording every day, so it stacks up, and I'll export those files and then upload. Yeah, it's having, college life ain't really that easy. And then after that it'll be work, so yeah, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share to your friends and loved ones. I just said it right now because I might forget about it. If you don't want to, then feel free to watch my other videos. On that, let's get back to the game. I believe I read this. You take a moment to think things through before making yet another stupid decision. However, with the memory of your encounter with those hoodlums still fresh in your head, it doesn't take long for you to accept. Yeah, that's a good question. If the crime rate is pretty high, I've been doing some GTA roleplay with my friends. Oh man, there was a lot of crime. I got robbed so many times, man. Like at least four times, I think. Yeah. After all, it's not like the Lamb's company has been bothersome so far, so you can definitely spend a few more minutes alongside him. As long as no other interesting coincidence show up, at least. Sure, I can follow you along. What floor are you on? The Lamb doesn't answer your question immediately, seemingly needing a moment to remember things. I think it's the third, right? Yeah, it's gotta be the third. That's not too far from the lobby. You're pretty sure you could just take the stairs and reach his floor in no time at all. That said, what if this is his way of asking you to stick around for his own protection? What if he's worried someone might still jump him while inside the building? It's definitely a ludicrous fear, but not one you're willing to rule out entirely. I mean, yeah, I don't know, man. Let's say you're walking down the empty hallway of a building. Yeah, in an area that supposedly, has a high crime rate. Yeah. Either way, you should probably say something before he starts asking you what's wrong. I see. I'm on the 5th myself. Oh, cool. I've never been there, but I hear it's a pretty nice place. It's definitely a floor. This kid certainly makes some interesting remarks. You're simultaneously curious, concerned, and very afraid. Probably for no reason. You can be quite paranoid when you want to be, after all, and that encounter from earlier didn't help. You still find yourself reliving that dreadful event every other moment. What were you even thinking? No wonder you can't seem to focus. Seeing you stuck amidst the clouds, Apollo begins nudging you forward a little harder, looking quite eager to get inside. Are you alright? Oh, I mean, yes, of course. Awesome. Well then, shall we go? Yeah. Let's get a move on. The two of you head towards the large entrance in front of the building. A pair of gentlemen wearing trench coats and ties are chatting about things you can't and don't wish to understand near the glass doors. The smell of cigarettes poisons the air, likely coming from a large pile of burnt butts on the ground. It's still just as unpleasant as ever, even as an android, though Apollo appears to be handling it rather well. You try to ignore the two men as best as you can while you accompany Apollo inside the building, but it's not quite so easy. Why am I not surprised to see those two together? That bitch running this place better be earning millions for housing weirdos like them here with us. The two men continue chatting and laughing behind your back, confident that you can't hear them. Out of respect for Apollo, you do your best to pretend that you don't. Oh wow, this looks like a cozy place. You walk into the main lobby of the building, closing the doors behind you. Compared to the freezing cold outside, the air here is much warmer, I'll bet. It's still just as fresh as the rest of Bloomberg. The lack of annoying jerks sneering at you or mumbling inappropriate remarks under their breath is also rather refreshing. You're thankful that there's still some places in this world where you can relax in peace and quiet. Oh man, if only we all had that place. Apollo takes a few steps forward, stretching his arms up high as if he just woke up from a deep slumber. Phew! Goodness, what a day! I don't think I've ever been happier to walk through those doors. You can say that again. Can't wait to get home and call this a night. I'm completely exhausted. Oh, come on now. It's only 8 p.m. or something like that, right? I'm sure you've got some space in that belly of yours for a meal or two. Not necessarily, no. I'm an android, remember? I don't really need to eat. You don't need to, but you still like to, right? Yeah, I do, but how did you know that? You don't recall ever telling the lamb that piece of information, or anything regarding this subject to it be told. I mean, come on, who can say no to a nice dinner? I know I could never say no to Daphne's cooking. You can't look at all that lovely goodness she makes and not feel compelled to devour it in a heartbeat. He does make a good point, even if you don't have any idea of what he's talking about. Yeah, I was about to say, who's Daphne? Scooby-Doo? I guess I understand what you mean. There's nothing quite like a hearty meal after a long day. Yup, that's exactly what I'm talking about. No one can resist a nice, cozy dinner with friends and family. Well, with family at least. Can't exactly vouch for the whole friend part. You don't have many friends? The lamb remains awkwardly silent, scratching the back of his neck in assent. Looks like the two of you are more similar than you originally thought. Apollo may look a little out there by your standards, but you know he struggles far better than you'd like. But at least in this regard, can't say you were ever jumped by street thugs in a shady-looking alley before. Well, if you ever feel lonely and need an extra mouth at your table, feel free to call me anytime. Really? Only now do you realize what you just told a total stranger. The thought appeared in your head so quickly you didn't even wait to process it before you blurted it all out. For a moment you wonder whether you even made the right call, making a brazen suggestion like that completely out of the blue. The two of you have been chatting amicably for a while, sure, but wasn't it a bit too disrespectful inviting yourself to his place like that? Like the two of you are already close friends? Do you even want to be his friend? You only just met after all, and other than having helped him out of a tough situation earlier, it's not like you're particularly close or anything. Sure, feel free to come anytime. We always leave leftovers, so I'm sure she won't object to seeing a little less in the fridge. Apollo abruptly interrupts her train of thought with his now familiar breeziness, a wide smile on his face. He seems very genuine in his invitation too. He never did call you a friend, but it's clear he trusts you more than a stranger at least. It feels nice. Well, shall we go? Yeah, lead the way. The two of you make your way past the lobby until you reach the compact elevator on the other side of the room. Once there, you press the button to the side and patiently wait for it to arrive. While you wait, you turn to face the lamb once again. He's staring off into space while hanging by your side, pondering something that's not readily apparent to you. Something on your mind? Oh, nothing. Just wondering whether Daphne's already home or not. Her job lasts until the late afternoon, but sometimes she takes even longer because of her errands. I see. You still have no clue as to whom this Daphne might be, though you assume her to be a friendly member or someone else who lives alongside him. Before you can ask him more about that, however, the elevator doors open before you. Three young men around Apollo's age come out all of a sudden, looking rather upset for whatever reason, though that annoyance is nothing compared to what they show as soon as they realize that you're there. They don't speak another word as they make their way towards the lobby, only giving you and your lamb acquaintance a few scornful looks as they do so. They resume their chat after a while, their voices much harder to hear than before, likely for the better. You've heard enough insults whispered behind your back for one night. Oh man, sometimes I overthink. I'd be like, oh, maybe they're insulting me right now. Did I offend someone? Insult them? Oh god, what do they look like now? They look like a jackass or look stupid? Sometimes when you're a stranger or a professor or you're a family member you're not so close to, like, looks at you, you're like, oh crap, do I look like I'm intimidating? Trust me, Sleepy's like resting bitch face is like, or just poker face, you know, let's just go with that. Looks like I'm pissy or something, I'm mad. But when I'm smiling, I'm like, oh, when I'm smiling, oh yeah, it's not serious. Yeah. But that's life, you know. Nevertheless, this is getting rather tiresome. Yep. Right as they leave the building, Apollo snaps back from his sudden stupor, only now noticing the angry look on your face. Hey, are you okay? What's wrong? It takes a moment for you to answer his question. Your mind still focused on those jerks from earlier. Yeah, I'm good. And yet the anger within your gaze isn't as quick to dissipate as you'd hope. And the lamb is quick to notice. Are you upset with those guys who passed through just now? Seeing as there's no way to avoid it, you sigh and admit what he already knows. Yup, nailed it right in the head. Yeah, I figured. I saw them in the hallways a bunch of times, I think. Never struck me as a friendly type, though they always love to chat amongst each other. What did they say? Enough. The sheep makes a shift to inquire further but refrains at the last moment. I'm sorry about that. I wish I could have done something to help. Aw, it's fine. It's not your fault they left their manners at home. Oh, okay, that kind of made me laugh. Apollo's lips curl into a shy smile, though it's clear he's nowhere near content with this situation. You have the feeling that this isn't the first time something like this has happened to him. Though you can easily tell why most people give you the cold shoulder, it's much harder to understand what he did to earn these sorts of reactions as well. You decide not to worry about it too much for the time being and simply get back to what you were doing. Yeah, Apollo struck me the first impression as someone who wants to help amidst his like disabilities or problems. You know, Apollo be like, yeah, you look like you're worried. What are you worried about? Can I help? You know, that kind of guy or person. Either way, the elevator's here at least. Let's get on it before someone else decides to ruin our mood. Right, lead the way, Isaac. Without further delay, the two of you quickly step into the elevator. Once inside, a sophisticated-looking tablet melded into the wall itself shows you a list of possible floors. As soon as the lamp presses the one leading to his floor, the door is closed behind you and you begin a slow descent. As it lies right on top of a cluster of small mountains and hills, Bloomberg was originally built with the intent on maximizing not only the space above ground but also the space below it. Where other cities extend upwards towards the skies, Bloomberg extends downwards towards the darkness. All of the residential buildings here have at least one floor beneath the first, with condos like this one often having several. Some of the more luxurious buildings, especially further uphill, extend so far below the ground that they would have challenged the tallest of skyscrapers had they only been built in the opposite direction. If you recall correctly, the long-term plan for the city is to have not only the buildings but the entire city extend below the ground, with a vast transportation network rivaling that of the greatest metropolises in the world. The idea is likely to make the streets and cars above entirely obsolete and free up tons of space that could be used for something. You know what? That's interesting. But I can see the challenges posed to that plan in our world, right? I mean, having sewers is already a challenge, but having to go below that, like below a whole city, and have buildings under it, that would mean it would be riddled with pipes above it and in between the floors, I guess. You know, that's I guess there would be some pillars to like hold up everything. But then the question would be earthquakes and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, that's amazing plan with all the space that we could all have, but you know, big challenges. As it stands, however, this plan is nothing but a distant mirage, as even the most basic of preliminary works have yet to be performed, allegedly. Speaking of works that have yet to be performed, how come you're still stuck in this elevator? It's been a hot minute since the doors first closed, at least. Seeing as you recall this piece of junk being just a tad faster than this, you decide to ask your Caprine buddy for confirmation. Hey, I'm not the only one who thinks this elevator is taking a little too long to go down with a couple floors, right? Now that you mention it, we have been here for a while, haven't we? We have, yeah. You think there's some sort of trouble with the elevator systems or something? Could be. Maybe we should ask the building support AI. I'm pretty sure she can reach us here. She's just a C grade, but she could at least be able to tell us what's going on. It's worth a shot. Following Apollo's suggestion, you turn to face the tablet on the wall and try conversing with it, hoping it can provide some answers. Let's see. Ah, there's the button. Selena, we need some help. Not even a second later, a monotone feminine voice replies through the tablet speakers. I'm not gonna do a feminine voice. Request acknowledged. How may I be of service? Only one sentence in and she's already less annoying than Arthur. Why couldn't the lab coats over at Pandora hook you up with something like this instead of that waste of RAM? We feel like we've been stuck here for ages. Can you tell us if anything's wrong with the elevator? Query acknowledged. Analyzing. Multiple similar queries from earlier in the day found. Returning answer. Warning, minor malfunction detected in the elevator's mag movement system. Elevator speed currently clocking at 1.69% efficiency. Time to move from one floor to another estimated in 1 minute and 37 seconds. Both you and the lamb turn to face one another for a moment, evidently startled. This thing's not gonna fall with us, still in it, right? Reasonable fear acknowledged. Worry not. Chances of critical system failure estimated to be statistically irrelevant. Oh. By all means, you are practically safe. That doesn't sound as comforting as you think it is. Can't you just give us a rough estimate? Concerns acknowledged. Request denied. What? Explanation required. Consider humans are statistically likely to panic when they're told that they could die, in spite of how improbable the source of that danger may be. For your mental safety, the answer to your query has been refuse. You've got to be kidding me! If you believe this to be a lapse in my judgment, you are advised to report this interaction to Celine Inc. for review. Would you like me to send a ticket to their support team? You take a deep, long breath to calm yourself down, mostly for old time's sake. Arguing with a crappy AI is pointless. Arthur already taught you this lesson several times. All you can do is ask questions and pray that you receive coherent answers. So, how long until we reach the 3rd floor? Query acknowledged. Calculating. Estimated time of arrival is 2 minutes and 57 seconds. Good! Have you already notified the owners of the building of this issue? Celine Inc. has already been notified of the malfunction by the previous users of the elevator. That would explain why those men already looked so annoyed when you saw them come out of the elevator, though that's no excuse for the way they reacted to you and your friend afterwards. A local maintenance firm has been contacted and repairs will be performed overnight. Standard efficiency expected to be restored within 14 hours. Celine Inc. apologizes for the inconvenience. Well, that's better than nothing, I suppose. Thanks, I guess. You can go now. We can handle it from here. Understood. Please enjoy your ride. And with that unintentionally ironic remark, the voice fades away. We turn to face Apollo, who's looking quite apologetic for some reason. He always does, man. I'm sorry, this is all my fault. Huh? What are you talking about? This wasn't... It was. I'm the one who suggested to take the elevator, remember? It was my fault you got caught up in the setback as well. You can see where the lamb is coming from, but even then, this is nothing to get so worked up about, especially considering that you have more time to play around with that than you ever did before. Do you really need to apologize for a 3-minute long setback? Come on now, this is nothing worth apologizing for. Apollo looks lost for a moment, unsure of what to say. You make as if to reassure him, but before he can say a word, he vigorously shakes his head as he tries to calm himself down. You're right, I'm overreacting. Sorry about that. It's a little hard for me to keep my emotions in check when I'm feeling stressed. Can't say I don't know how that feels. Even as an android, sometimes it's difficult to rein myself in when I'm annoyed or upset. But that's why you gotta stop apologizing. I'm not upset with you. You're just a poor kid who's had a rough night. Apollo's eyes look remarkably teary all of a sudden. Really? Do you really think that? Of course, why wouldn't I? His uncertain expression cracks into a faint, timid smile under your honesty. It takes him a few seconds to realize just how red his cheeks have become. He immediately turns the other way as if hoping you never saw that. Seeing as he's currently too embarrassed to chat with you, you decide to try and push the conversation yourself for once. So, how long have you been living here? As if awoken from a trance, Apollo once again turns to face you, a faint shade of red still lingering on his face. Aw. A few years at least, if I remember right. Which, you know. Right, I gathered you don't trust your memory all that much. The lamb quietly nods, looking more awkwardly than embarrassed now. Pretty much, yeah. It sounds like either he doesn't know the specifics himself or he's not too keen on sharing them with you. Either way, there's no point in inquiring on this topic any further. That's okay, so a couple years, huh? Where did you live before coming here? Apollo hesitates to answer your question. Virginia Beach. In California? That's a long way from here. Isn't that place really expensive to live in as well? It is. I see. Did you move here because you thought it was cheaper? Something like that. Looks like the young man's not all too thrilled to answer your questions. Not that you can blame him. You haven't known each other for long enough to justify you asking these rather sensitive questions. Alright, I get it. You're not comfortable answering these kinds of questions. My bad. No, it's not your bad. If anything, it's... He interrupts himself, an unsure look on his face once again. He sighs a final time before trying to explain himself. I want to answer your questions, I really do, but I'd rather not talk about my past if we can avoid it. I can't remember most of it, and the parts that I can, I understand. I'll refrain from mentioning this topic again in the future. I'm sorry for not realizing this sooner. No, it's fine. It's better to clear this stuff out sooner rather than later, isn't it? I'm just glad that you still want to talk with me despite all of my problems. Of course I do. You're a pretty cool dude. Thanks. I'm enjoying your company as well. That's nice. After a brief few moments spent smiling at each other, you resume your conversation with the hope that it won't sour again. One thing I wanted to ask you earlier was who you were talking about back at the lobby. You gave me the impression that you live with someone but never elaborated on that. To be fair, the boy looks old enough to live on his lonesome. However, given everything you know about him so far, the likelihood of that being the case appears rather slim. I live with my sister, Daphne. She's a few years older than me. Ah, so that's who that was. Must be nice to share the apartment with someone you know. Yup, we've been living together for practically forever, really, so it felt natural to us. Aw. Nothing beats family, man. I understand, and what do you guys do for a living? Well, she works as a waitress at a bar downtown, while I just stay home and study, I guess. That doesn't make any sense. There's no way they could afford a place in California or even here with so little to go on. A waitress and an unemployed kid. Who are these people really? There you go, asking yourself questions you probably shouldn't. You try to keep your intrusive curiosity repressed inside you as you continue the conversation. So you said you're homeschooled. Not exactly. I just spend my days reading every free book on the internet I can find. I haven't gone to regular school since I got my diploma a couple years back. You read whatever you can find, no preference at all. I guess I kinda have a thing for medicine and physical therapy. I've always dreamed of becoming a nurse or doctor and use that knowledge to help people. Man, this guy is nice, man. I'm loving it. Not as in becoming an actual nurse or doctor, mind you. School was always a nightmare and I can't imagine college being any better. I mean, more like a hobby than anything else. So this guy graduated high school. College is another challenge. And then when you actually do work, it's a step above that challenge. I guess I'm gonna end this video right here. I'm gonna see everybody, in the next episode of No More Future, episode 18. So if you're new to this channel, please smash the subscribe button, like, comment, share it to friends and loved ones. I don't know, just to support this channel. Other than that, watch my other videos. Stay safe, good luck on whatever you're doing. Hopefully everybody is having a nice time. Bye!